Hello, Ben.
George Harris. Oh, it sure is good to see you. How are you?
It's been a long time.
It sure has been a long time. Say, don't you fellas from San Francisco ever travel during the daytime? Come on, sit down.
Now, wait. Before I make myself too comfortable, there's something I want to talk to you about.
Oh, sure.
Do you remember Joshua Norton?
The Emperor of the United States of America and the Protector of Mexico is not a man who is easily forgotten. How is he?
Well, he's still writing proclamations.
Yes.
I'm still publishing them on the front page of my newspaper.
Come on, sit down. Joshua Norton. I'll tell you, of all the people that San Francisco has produced, I guess he's probably the most interesting, the most amazing, and certainly the most controversial.
They finally put out commitment orders on the old man, Ben.
No, that's too bad. That sweet, kind, generous man, he wouldn't hurt a flea. Always fighting for the underdog. Who could possibly want him out of the way?
Well, he's made some very powerful enemies. For one thing, he's still appealing the Rice affair. Now, I think he has a case, and I've been writing editorials about it. And they've angered some of the biggest interests.
Oh.
That's why I'm here, Ben. The Emperor needs a place of refuge.
Do you want him to stay here with me?
Ben, he doesn't know about the commitment order. He thinks that some of these powerful interests are trying to impeach him for demanding equal pay for the Chinese laborers in San Francisco.
Well, I won't say anything, of course. When will they get here?
Your Majesty?
Good evening, Mr. Cartwright. My cape and hat. Quite comfortable.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Welcome to the Ponderosa.
And mate.
Well, that's 2 games for you and 1 for me.
Here's mail, Paul.
Thank you. There's 1 here for you, Your Majesty.
Ah, from George Harris, one of my most loyal and faithful subjects.
Hey, Paul, did he really beat you 2 games?
Yes, he beat me 2 games. What about it?
Nothing, Paul. I lost the Rice appeal. The fools! Don't they know this was their last chance? Now I'm forced to seize the judiciary and reverse the decision myself. I'd hoped I wouldn't have to do that.
He's taking it pretty hard.
He's human. I suppose any man will break if enough pressure's brought to bear. 15 years ago, that man was one of the wealthiest and most influential merchants in the city of San Francisco. Then he lost everything. Some venture involving the shipment of rice from the Orient. He was wiped out financially and in other ways, too. So now he's the emperor, and no one can ever cheat him again.
Well, a thing like that happened to a man, it hurt pretty fiercely, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes, there's a part of him that's hurt. The part that pretends he's an emperor. But the part that plays brilliant chess and writes searching essays in political science and makes courageous speeches in the gallery at the state legislature. I sure wish I was as healthy as that part.
Does he really do all that?
You bet he does. It's the alarm whistle from the mine.
Must be an accident.
Get the water, Captain.
Right.
Here you go.
I think his left leg is broken.
Your Majesty! Your Majesty!
What's the matter? Oh. Are you lost?
No, sir, but you are.
Who owns this mine?
Come on, Emperor, we gotta get out of here.
I demand to know.
Oh, Harry Crawford, why?
I want him arrested at once.
Arrested? For what?
He didn't use the canaries.
Oh.
Ben, who's in charge of this operation?
Huh? Mr. Milner here. He's the engineer.
You? Where were the canaries?
The what, sir?
The canaries! They would have warned the men in time. I'm arresting your employer for criminal negligence.
Canaries? Ben, you sure he's harmless?
Well, of course he's harmless. Young man, you better read up on canaries. Your Majesty? What was all that stuff about the canaries?
You have one? I'll show you.
Probably get one in town.
Then get it, pronto. That's a command.
Canaries?
That's what I asked him.
Ben, this is ridiculous. What are we trying to prove?
Shh. His head is beginning to droop. The gas starts here.
I've already checked in here. I didn't find any gas leak.
You better check some more.
By golly, he's right. I do smell it. Very faint.
But not so faint down there where the men were working.
It would accumulate down lower. How did you know it was here?
The canary knew. Come, little friend, out in the open, and I'll reward you with a fresh worm.
Canaries don't eat worms.
Would you like to make a bet that one does?
No, I don't think I would.
Thank you, Hopsing.
May I remove honorable plate?
No. Hopsing, I meant to do this before. Gentlemen, rise. Rise. Kneel, please. Singh, your conduct in caring for your injured countrymen after the mine explosion was exemplary. Therefore, in the name of the United States and Mexico, I hereby appoint you ambassador to China and representative of the court of Norton I in all matters pertaining to Oriental affairs. You may rise, Mr. Ambassador.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Wait till I tell elders in town. I'm sing ambassador. Oh.
Man, there ain't gonna be no living with him now.
Gentlemen, be seated.
Well, you did a very lovely thing, Bonanza.
Well, of course. I bestowed a great honor on him, as I have on you, Mr. Milner, by allowing you to install the first measures of safety in your mine before I arrest Mr. Crawford.
I meant to thank you for giving him another chance, Your Majesty.
I'll give him until tomorrow at 4 o'clock precisely to comply with my order. And now, there's something I wish to show you. Gentlemen, come this way. Gentlemen, behold my latest project, the newest wonder of the world. Well?
What is it?
What is it? It's a bridge! A bridge!
No disrespect, sir, but if it's a bridge, what holds it up?
Those cables. What else? I thought you were an engineer.
Well, struggling for comprehension as I am, sir, Well, if you could explain it a little more fully.
The load divides between these clusters of cables so that none of them is sorely stressed. It's an ancient principle known by the Incas of Peru and the tribes of equatorial Africa.
How long is this bridge supposed to be?
Not very long. Just across the Golden Gate of San Francisco.
But that's more than a mile across some of the swiftest currents in the world.
I'm aware of it. I was right about the Canaries, wasn't I? Don't you believe in me yet?
Well, of course we do, Your Majesty. It's just that, a new idea always has certain resistance, like Leonardo da Vinci.
Comparisons are odious. I am a builder of bridges.
I beg your pardon, Your Majesty.
It's not your fault. The genius is lonely. There's an old adage which says, it's better to be lonely by oneself than to be lonely with friends.
You're not lonely here, Your Majesty.
No, sir, not at all, and I think it's a fine bridge, too.
You're not just saying that because I'm your emperor and you think you have to.
No, not at all, I mean it.
Me too, Your Majesty.
Of course.
One day, I will build this great bridge across the Golden Gate. I arrest you for murder.
You what?
I said you are under arrest for murder.
Oh, no. You're that old coot staying out on the Cartwright place. That canary business again. Will you get out of here before I put you away?
dare you? I will not be subjected to this ridicule and idiocy. Let go. Take your hands off. You miserable. Well, Sheriff, get this madman off of me. I won't stand it another minute. Lock him up for assault. Lock him up, Sheriff.
On what charge?
A man died because he was too cheap to buy a canary.
Canary?
I command his arrest.
Well, you command his arrest?
Just a moment. My cape. I want to send a telegram to the sheriff's office in San Francisco.
Good evening, Your Majesty.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good evening, Your Majesty.
Good evening. Gentlemen, good night. This has been an eventful day.
It certainly has that. Good night, Your Majesty.
All right. Roy, thank you so much for bringing him
Don't
home.
mention it, Ben. Have you got a minute?
Sure.
Harry Crawford is just about fit to be tied. He started circulating a petition in town to get Mr. Norton committed.
Well, that's unfair. You know that.
Maybe I do know it, Ben. But there ain't going to be nothing that I can do about it if he gets enough signatures to order a sanity hearing. He's already wired San Francisco to get the information.
Now Crawford will find out about the commitment order there.
That's right. I figured you ought to know. I kind of like the old gent myself.
Thanks for telling me, Roy. Right.
Good night, Ben.
Who is it, please?
Your emperor.
Oh, yes, Your Majesty. It is an honor you visit me. Please come in.
I have no time for idle socializing. Hop Sing, I've been examining the situation here, and I've come to the conclusion that it is desperate.
Here on Ponderosa?
This whole area, Hop Sing. It needs the kind of guidance, direction, leadership that only I can provide. Hop Sing, when I first mentioned the bridge I had envisioned, you said you would build it to China if I asked.
Oh, but you not ask.
Unfortunately, other matters demand my attention, such as Mr. Crawford, the owner of the mine. Now I ask, Mr. Ambassador, I need someone to supervise construction of a prototype.
But I work for Mr. Cartwright, Your Majesty.
You worked for Mr. Cartwright. You are now in the service of your emperor.
Hey, Paul. Paul?
Morning, Ben. Boss.
Morning, Your Majesty.
Well, how do you like it?
You mean, this is what you've been doing the last 3 days?
I've been working on this all my life.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Too. What color do you think it should be? I've been debating between yellow and red. Red would be more striking, but I'm afraid it would get lost against the sunset.
Yeah, it looked pretty small against the sunset, all right.
Hoss, His Majesty is not referring to this little bridge. He's referring to the real thing, the one that's going across the Golden Gate at San Francisco.
Oh, that bridge.
Your Majesty, do you happen to know where Hop Sing might be?
I do, but I can't tell you. It's a state secret, Ben.
Yeah, but Hop Sing, he ain't been cooking.
Hoss. It's a state secret.
Well, maybe Hop Sing's whereabouts is a state secret, but it's making headline news down here in my stomach.
Norton been doing with my Chinese workers?
Well, Mr. Cropper, what has Emperor Norton been doing with your workers?
I am serious, Mr. Cartwright. He and Hop Sing came round 3 days ago, and ever since my Chinese workers have been leaving the mines during the lunch hour.
Well, it seems to me that what your workers do during the lunch hour is their business.
It's my business when they don't eat and just drag through the rest of the afternoon. I'm not getting a full day's work out of them.
So that's why you've been pushing that petition so hard.
That's one reason, of course. Now, see here, Mr. Cartwright. There's no malice in me. You get that old nuisance to leave my workers alone, and I'll withdraw that petition.
All right, so you'd better ask Norton, not me.
I thought you were interested in his welfare. I see I was mistaken.
Well, I'm glad you brought it in, Ben. Because if I had never seen it, I never would have believed it.
The bridge can be built.
I don't know.
Well, it's just right there, right in front of you.
There's a model in front of me. I mean, I could make a model of a building 50 stories high. But that doesn't mean that that building can actually be constructed. I mean, for all I know, that bridge couldn't even carry its own weight.
Well, is that what you're telling me?
Ben, this man is a mixture of genius and delusion. He set forth a theory that is totally new to any engineering I've ever studied. I simply don't know whether that bridge could stand or not.
Well, you must have some idea.
Ben, don't ask me for an answer. I don't even fully understand the question. That's one thing I do understand, though. Norton's oddities are pushing a lot of people into signing that petition.
It's Crawford that's doing the pushing.
But it's the Emperor that's giving him a lot of ammunition.
Just because he wants to build a different kind of bridge.
Norton's bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. Norton's bridge is falling down, poor old crackpot. Norton's bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. Norton's bridge is falling down, poor old crackpot.
Why are you singing that song?
I was just playing a joke. Everybody's laughing at that old coot. Let me go, will ya? Let go of me.
You know, I'm worried about you. You ought to take better care of yourself. I want to show you something. Now, look at the back of your pants here. Look back here. See all that dust back here? Shall I clean it off for you?
Mr. Cartwright, I saw what you did to that poor child, and I think it's dreadful.
Well, ma'am, I don't think it's any more dreadful than poking fun at your elders in the street.
That Emperor, Norton? Don't you agree with Mr. Crawford's petition?
I most assuredly do not, ma'am.
Well, let me remind you, sir, that the Bible says, "Suffer the little children who come unto me."
Well, ma'am, let me tell you that the next little child that comes unto me singing that song most assuredly will suffer. Goodbye.
You may enter.
Supper's just about ready, Your Majesty.
I'm really not hungry, Ben. But you go on.
You feeling all right?
I'm fine.
Well, maybe you'll feel like eating a little later.
Ben, they still mock me in Virginia City, don't they?
Well, some of them, yes.
Most of them. Be honest. It's one thing to be tolerated, Ben, to be loved even. But it's quite another thing to be taken seriously. I'm an emperor. I've got to leave a legacy. Even if it's only a little wooden bridge across to Muddy Creek.
Hey, Pa. Sheriff Coffey's here. And he's got Mr. Crawford with him.
Ben, I'm sorry it had to come to this.
I think I'm a reasonable man, Mr. Cartwright. I will try once more.
There's no need to rise, Sheriff. This is an informal audience.
Now, see here, Norton.
Excuse me, sir. I think you'll get along much better if you address His Majesty by his proper title.
Now, see here, Your Majesty. You are in no position to bargain.
Then why are you trying to bargain with me?
I am not trying to bargain with you. I just don't want to see you suffer needlessly in confinement.
My good man, you're not making any sense. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know perfectly well what I'm talking about. I am talking about that petition for your sanity hearing, Your Majesty.
Sheriff, are you involved in this disgraceful coup d'etat?
Come on now, Norton. Let's not make it any harder than it has to be. The law is on my side, and you know it.
I'm afraid he is right, Your Majesty.
Gentlemen, do you intend to stand aside while your emperor is being subjected to this humiliation?
But, Roy, just because a man thinks he's something he ain't, don't necessarily make him strange. I mean, we've all done it, ain't we?
You're wrong, Hoss. I am what I believe myself to be. We all are.
Oh, this farce has gone on long enough. Sheriff, do your duty.
Well, you'll be cleared of all charges, I'm certain, Your Majesty.
I wonder, Ben. A man's mind is a complicated mechanism. Who is qualified to determine the absolute rightness of its balance?
Oh, Your Majesty, we all know you are supreme.
No, Mr. Crawford, I'm not. Only God is supreme. But there's no need to quarrel over me, gentlemen. I'd always intended to inspect your town's prison facilities anyway. And my hat. Mr. Crawford, I've often thought of granting my subjects the right of self-rule. But when I meet someone like you, well, I realize the nation still needs my guiding hand. Mr. Sheriff, your emperor does not like to be kept waiting.
Come along, Sheriff. I don't like to be kept waiting either.
I'll be down tomorrow to post bail.
All right, Ben. Ben, I will. I'll try to make him as comfortable as possible.
Always putting wrong men in jail!
Ben, you can pick up a receipt for your bail money on the way out, huh?
Morning, Your Majesty.
Good morning, Ben. I'm also an expert locksmith. Sheriff, it's fine, strong, and well built. I'm also pleased to note you provided for ample sunshine and fresh air. Remind me to double your salary.
Thank you very much, Your Highness.
Sheriff, Ben and I have some things to talk over. Wait outside.
Yes, sir.
You solemnly swear to obey the duties of your new office as Minister of Justice?
As Minister of Justice?
It's not necessary to repeat after me. Answer yes or no.
Well, Your Majesty, what will my new duties be?
Defending your emperor at the impeachment.
The impeachment? Your Majesty, you need a proper lawyer.
Are you questioning the wisdom of your emperor? Remember, you once took an oath to obey and serve your emperor.
Well, yes.
Are you going back on your word?
Well, no, not exactly.
When a man says not exactly, he means exactly. Then, for your own good, I have to place you under arrest.
Your Majesty, I solemnly swear to carry out all the duties as Minister of Justice.
I think you do. Congratulations, Ben.
Thank you, Majesty.
Get my cape and hat.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Ben. Excuse me. Little Joe, Your Majesty. Emperor, do you know what happened to the Chinese at the mine?
I know they're industrious, hard-working people who have always been loyal to every command that I have given.
I mean, sir, do you know why about half of them didn't show up for work today?
Half of them.
Do you know anything about this?
It's a state secret, Ben.
Your Majesty, there's no such thing as a state secret between a Minister of Justice...
A what?
A Minister of Justice and his Emperor. You've got to tell me what this is all about.
And I shall. At the proper time. Drive on, Joseph.
Your Majesty, one more thing. I'd like to send a wire to Mr. Clemens and some of the other friends.
Have them testify? Excellent thought, Ben. I knew you'd show initiative in your new post. Drive on, Joseph.
Come on.
Who is this Clemens, Ben?
Samuel Clemens.
Mark Twain?
Yeah, Mark Twain. You might know some of the others, too. Bret Hart and Robert Louis Stevenson.
You mean they're friends of Norton's?
Yeah, friends and admirers.
This hearing is convened. Now, we're to consider the petition for the commitment of Joshua Norton for insanity. It is noted that Mr. Crawford, who circulated the petition, has the prescribed number of signatures of interested citizens. Now, will the defense identify itself, please?
Your Honor, His Majesty has consented to allow me to defend him.
All right, Ben. I'll conduct the inquiry since this is a sanity hearing, not a trial.
Nevertheless, Your Honor, His Majesty stands accused, and the Constitution guarantees him the right to face his accusers. I would like history to remember just who his accusers are.
Crawford and the people who signed the petition.
History will be interested in the names, I'm sure. The defense has no witnesses to call at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Crawford, what do you have to say?
Don't worry, Ben. They'll be here.
I sure hope so. That testimony is vital.
Vital? No, Ben, not vital. They're important, I grant you. But only the model of my bridge is vital.
All right, Mr. Crawford, let's have it.
Well, Your Honor, the long and short of it is this. This man, Norton, came to town dressed in those ridiculous clothes and told everybody that he was the Emperor of the United States and the something or other of Mexico.
Protector. I'm the protector of Mexico.
Well, the protector of Mexico started making trouble in Virginia City. He should be put away, and that's all there is to it. Ever since this emperor came to town, is there a man here who has been able to get one of his Chinese workers to so much as carry a message during the noon hour? No, sir. He is responsible for that. Furthermore, he has stirred up all the Indians to demand higher wages. Oh, yes, and here's one more little thing. And here's one more thing. He has publicly advocated that women be given the right to vote. Now, gentlemen, you know, and I know, what chaos that could produce. There is not one person in this town, man, woman, or child, who has not been adversely affected by his presence. He is a menace to the community, and we demand that he be removed.
You have anything more, Mr. Crawford?
No, sir.
Your Honor.
All right, Ben.
Mr. Crawford, you say that Emperor Norton behaved in an outlandish manner.
Yes, sir, he did.
Well, what exactly did he do? I mean, did he do things like, something like this, like come to you and say that he owned your land and he was going to give it away to somebody else?
That is exactly the sort of thing he did.
In other words, he behaved exactly like Christopher Columbus did. Well, isn't that true? Just think of it. Christopher Columbus dressed in a ridiculous manner, if you happen to be an Indian. And Christopher Columbus decided he was going to give away the land he had just discovered to some king or other in Europe. And that must have seemed pretty strange if you happened to be an Indian and thought all along that the land you were living on was yours and had been for a long time. In fact, I think we're all pretty fortunate Mr. Crawford wasn't around to lock Christopher Columbus up.
Ben, your point doesn't apply here. You know it doesn't.
Your Honor, I know that the only reason he's circulating this petition is so that he won't have to invest any money in safety devices for his mine.
I am protecting my miners, but not with canary birds.
All right, Mr. Milner. Let's hear about the bridge.
Well, frankly, Your Honor, there's not a whole lot I can tell you. I mean, this is the model here. Doesn't prove anything except that a model can be built. In order to prove this theory of Emperor Norton's...
Mr. Norton.
Emperor Norton. You'd have to have an actual bridge, a real bridge, so that you could subject it to experimental stresses.
Chris, did Emperor Norton ever mention the vine bridges across the Amazon River to you?
Well, yes, he did mention them, but I only have his word for it.
And he's disturbed. Now, suppose I were to tell you that I'd read about those vine bridges, too. Am I disturbed?
I don't think so, Ben.
Well, whose word do you have for that?
Only yours.
No more questions.
You may step down, Mr. Milner.
Your Honor, sir, may I request a short recess?
What for, Ben?
If I may beg your indulgence, sir, I think the need for the recess will be apparent.
All right. 5 minutes.
Mark! Well, how good to see you. I'd like you to meet my Minister of Justice.
Ben.
Well, Sam, it's nice to see you again. We've known each other for some time, Your Majesty.
Ben, I brought these letters from the others.
Yes.
Stevenson, Bret Hart, Fremont, General Vallejo.
Oh.
I hope they'll be of some value.
I know they will be. It's a very impressive list.
He's a very impressive man.
Yes, he is. Your Majesty, I think we'd better get back.
Let's get together for dinner, say, as soon as this foolishness is over.
Missed you.
Well,
how's it really going in there?
Well, now that you're here, Sam, I think everything will be all right. We'll call you just as soon as we get back in.
Fine.
Are we ready to go now, Ben?
Yes, we are, Your Honor, and thank you for your indulgence. Your Honor, with your permission, we would like to call a character witness who's come a long way to help an old friend.
Who is he, Ben?
May I introduce Mr. Samuel Clemens?
Mr. Clemens, pleasure to have you in our courtroom.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Won't you take the stand?
Just 1 minute, Your Honor. He can't testify here. If he was a doctor, I'd say, fine, go ahead, let's hear him. But he's not. He's just a friend.
I beg your pardon. He's more than just a friend, Mr. Crawford. This man is a celebrated American author. He's one
I don't care.
He has nothing important in
I don't care if he's got a letter from the king.
I'll testify.
Joshua.
I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
State your name, please.
And my titles?
Yes, and your titles.
I'm Emperor Joshua Norton, Emperor of the United States of America, Protector of Mexico, the sole unchallenged sovereign of the Western Hemisphere.
Order! Ben, this is a prima facie case. I don't want to humiliate the man anymore. Joshua Norton, I've heard all the evidence relating to your state of mind and your ability to fend for yourself. I find that your best interest will be served if you were to be committed.
This bridge model shows how wrong they are. Mr. Milner is absolutely wrong, and so is Mr. Crawford. Mr. Milner, notwithstanding...
Your Majesty, excuse me, sir.
This hearing we'll recess for 1 hour. We will reconvene at Bowes Creek on the Ponderosa. Adjourned.
Majesty, why didn't you tell me what was going on at Bowes Creek before?
State secret between my ambassador and me.
Beautiful.
It's only beautiful if it works, Ben.
All right. This hearing's back in session.
Well, what further proof do you need, Judge? There it is.
Mr. Milner, what do you think of that?
Depends on how much weight it'll carry, Judge.
Well, Hop Singh and his workers who went over it.
Oh, Hop Singh don't weigh 150 pounds sopping wet after a full dinner. That's no test.
How about me? Would I be test enough for you?
My dear sir, if you want to soak in, that's up to you.
Ben, if I've been wrong in this, I will have been wrong in everything.
It will work, won't it?
It's got to work.
Congratulations, Your Majesty.
All right. So I built a bridge. So what if he did? It doesn't go anyplace.
Oh, you're wrong, Crawford. That's the longest bridge in the world. It goes from here all the way into the future.